Peace and love, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Translations, powered by Translation Media. I am your host, Curtis Blair, with my co-host,
Nick Beam. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
And man, thanks for joining us another episode, man. We are here with a special guest of mine, man, a friend of mine, a long time business associate coming. We got some business that we're going to do coming down the pipeline. World champion, NCAA champion, family man, father, mentor, commentator. Man, we got Bubba Jenkins in the building.
Bubba Jenkins!
Badman ting.
Yeah, rude boy.
How you doing today, Bubba?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. Excited to be here. Y'all caught me at the right time, man. I was getting my boys on the mats, and I was, it's like, man, pull up. So I'm out here,
Man.
Father figure and everything. Daddy hat on this time around.
Holiday season, man.
Holiday season. You gotta love it.
Definitely, man. Gotta love it. Thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for making time. We are blessed in your presence, man. Tell us a little bit about Bubba Jenkins, man. Tell us what you got going on, and let's start from the humble beginnings.
I'm a fighter.
Okay.
I'm a family man.
Okay.
I'm a believer in Christ. Big follower of Christ.
For sure.
So my faith is huge. But I was born in Frankfurt, Germany.
Okay.
Father being an entrepreneur. My dad was a gold miner in Africa. He was a gold miner. He was in Ghana, where my bloodline is from. My mom and my father's bloodline both run through Ghana.
Okay.
So he was a gold miner out there working for couple different kings and things like that, and he actually passed out there. But
God rest his soul.
When he was getting that money, he was moving around the world, shaking and baking, moving, grabbing, sliding. So he moved out to Frankfurt, where he was a pastor, and he was a bishop over 40 churches out there.
Okay,
moving, grooving, sliding, and planted there. We was born, me, my brother, my sister. We was all put on the map. And then when he passed, that's when I pretty much started my athletic careers. When the statistics tried to start to hit me. When I lost my father, I became an angry young black man, and anybody could get it.
Was that in Germany?
Yeah, Germany, Indiana as well.
Indiana?
When my father had passed, we as a family moved to Indiana, where my father's parents were. Okay. And my dad was one of 11, so I had a lot of aunts and uncles, a lot of cousins. 81 first cousins, a lot big family.
We might be cousins, bro. I'm really from Indiana, so like
Madison and all that area.
So. Madison too. That's where my mother and them was from.
Yeah, we might be cousins.
We gotta research this.
I know a couple light skinned my cousins got
we got every color spectrum.
For sure. That's where we're from, man. That's where I started wrestling at in Indiana, and that's kind of where my athletic and sports career took off to becoming the world champion I am today.
Man,
talk your shit. The world champion I am
world
today.
Champ.
No, I know you bad man things.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you started off with that transition from high school into college. That's where you really start to bubble up and get your name.
Well, I was the number one recruit in the country coming out of high school. I wish that there were NIL deals coming then.
Man, you ain't saying nothing but a word.
Boy, I would have showed up here in a Lambo truck.
Man, you hear me?
The NIL was just right before my time because I had frats coming to my matches. I had people buying shirts. I mean, I was making good money in college, and it was not supposed to happen that way.
Right, right.
I had every recruit, as far as recruiting them, trying to sign those kids. They would bring them to me, so I signed everyone except one kid who was his uncle was a coach at the other school.
Gotcha.
So I was like, bro, I can't go against family. So when it came to me being representation of my community and who I was the face of Penn State when I actually signed with them and became their All-American.
Man, shout out to Penn State and being over there, killing it over there.
We wasn't in the state pen. We was at Penn State.
Hey.
Gotta look up that Biggie line with that one.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a huge Biggie guy.
Definitely.
I caught that immediately.
We was rapping Biggie earlier today.
That's
one of our meetings, man. It was a good time over there. Shout out to the people over at Harding showing us love and everything else like that. Yeah. But man, like, tell me so you also went to Arizona State as well, too?
Yes, sir. When I was a junior at Penn State, a new wrestling coach came in, Cale Sanderson. He was the undefeated 150-year-old guy, Olympic champ, world champ. He was on the Wheaties box. And when I was number one recruit in the country, he didn't recruit me.
Right.
So, I was just like, that was a weird thing. So now we released our head coach, and he came in as the new coach. And him coming over was kind of like a new thing. The whole world, he got this big fat contract, but I was already an All-American, already the face of Penn State. And so when he came over, we kind of just didn't agree with each other. I was a young black dude with my heart on my sleeve.
Right.
He was more of a Mormonist kind of guy who, you know, just kind of wanted things to be in his way.
Right.
And that was my team. I was captain of that team since I was a true sophomore. So he released me from the Penn State team as I was already a national finalist, already on the wall, everything, you know. And he released me, wouldn't let my transcripts go to the top 15 schools because he knew if I get to one of them top 15 schools, we would be a title contender with me being on that team, which was true because I took the number 16 team and we'd finished top 5 in the country.
And they be tripping on kids when they be transferring when the coaches be having pigeonholing our information and transfer.
His brother Kyler Sanderson just transferred from Iowa State to come to Penn State with his brother.
Wow.
So for them to do that 6 months before and then not allow me to do that 6 months after was really bad. But I did transfer to Arizona State, where the national tournament was back in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That crowd and those people who used to root for me.
Right.
And I wrestled that kid that they released me for with that coach in the corner. He was 71-0, hadn't lost all year. And not only did I pin him in their move, I pinned him in their move in front of their crowd with my Arizona State singlet on. So yeah, it was.
You can't.
For a national tournament to do it that way that I did it, it was epic, man. And so that's where I was at, man. I was at Penn State, transferred to Arizona State, won the national championship down in Philly, and have been gone off to the mixed martial arts world ever since.
Man,
wow, that's crazy.
That is a great story, man.
I'm working on, man, getting some people to work on that movie because, of course, my life is crazy, right? A good life story would be amazing. Calm down, Nick. But a movie about the match, forget the rest of the story. I was born, my name Bubba. I was an 11-pound baby, but they couldn't find a heartbeat for me for 3 months.
Wow.
So they told my mom to abort me 2 or 3 different times, right? And I didn't show up to the day I showed up. They couldn't find a heartbeat till the day I showed up, 11 pounds. So I have a crazy story of a miracle-like life. But that match in itself is very Hollywood-esque. You can't really write. They released me for this guy, and then I come back and pin that guy in their move. So I'm working on some people getting with me to try to get that match to be a movie.
We can talk about that offline, man.
We got some. I don't know if you seen me jump about my seat. We got some ideas, man.
I won it the year I won nationals. I won it with the one-leg kid Anthony Robles, who also has his show on Amazon. It's called Unstoppable. He won that same year. We were both Arizona State guys. The 2 guys from Arizona State, the only guys that year to have 2 guys for their school win nationals. Everybody else only had 1 individual. We had 2.
I do remember that.
That's why we took the 17th team in the country and we finished top 5. That's why he didn't release my transcript, because if I went to any of those top 15 schools,
all of them,
we possibly are.
But you took Arizona State out the mud,
yes sir,
with the show, and took them to the big show,
and took
shout
out to my people at ASU.
Okay,
I got mad love for Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale, pound for pound, some of the best sights you can have.
Oh no, I agree. I used to live
some
in
of the best sights you can see.
I love Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Yes, sir. Most men do.
So a quick transition. Let me ask you this. I met your mom. I know your mom. She's been an integral part of your life, man. Tell a little bit about how your mom's been a big influence, because I come from a single parent household. My father passed away when I was 13.
Show you right.
So, I always like to champion our moms, our single moms out here, try to give them some support.
The influence of the right mother is more than the words of 1,000 kings.
Amen. Okay.
The influence of the right mother on a son is more than the words of 1,000 kings to that same son.
That's a bar.
It's just an understanding of who these women are to build young men without a man involved, without other people involved. I am a warrior of all statutes, and I was raised by a woman. And you normally would think that's an oxymoronic statement, and the ideal of them not being able to raise strong young men or to raise men who have elt about them, who have a sense of understanding, people who feel like they've been here before. before. When you get the right woman, you get an understanding into those young men, and I believe that comes between the ears. Has nothing to do with the bicep and the muscles and the things like that. Everything to do with the heart and the ears, between the ears.
That's deep.
That's definitely profound.
Man, deep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by your upbringing because you were able to make this transition from Germany to Indiana, and just what you've been able to do since then. It is definitely worth a movie, worth a series, a documentary, worth a book. You know,
my mom has a book. My mom wrote a book. 12 chapters of my life. So it's 12. It's through the eyes of Bubba Jenkins, Odyssey. It's online. You gotta check it out.
Check it out.
It's 12 chapters of stories of my life through my mom's perspective, and I'm working on the same 12 chapters. Obviously, they're gonna be more detailed because mom don't know.
Yeah.
Some of them stories at Penn State was a little different than what she found out. You know what I mean? But we're working on something like that where she did write 12 chapters of my life. Easy read, very quick read, very easy book to go through. But it's inspirational for kids in high school. It's on Amazon.
Okay,
So
nice.
you can get it at Barnes and Nobles. It's out there. So
All right.
yeah,
What's the author's name?
Teresa Otero.
There you go.
Teresa
Shout it out.
Otero. Through the eyes of brother
Bubba
Jenkins Odyssey. Gotta check it out.
That's
Man,
fire.
definitely. You gotta get them plugs out.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So the next phase, you won all them championships, got all them accolades,
Right.
and then you came into the mixed martial arts stage.
Yes, indeed.
That big smile of yours came in, and you rock bottom. Tell them how what was that next transition? How was that?
You know what? You know what's funny about that? You say, if you guys know, shout out to Nate Parker. So my mom, Nate Parker's a Virginia wrestler, Virginia guy, went to Penn State, got a little trouble at Penn State, went to Oklahoma. Very similar story to my story. Nate Parker knew who I was, kind of befriended me, and when I flew out to a billionaire Mike Novogratz wrestling tournament in New York, Mike Novogratz was there. He's one of the creators and starters of Bitcoin. Big wrestling fan, but he's an investor in things with Nate Parker. And Nate Parker was telling me at the end of my college career to come to Hollywood, be more of an actor, and I just could not come away from the competitive side of myself.
Right.
So my mom was like, "Go to Hollywood, go to California," and my heart and the Lord was telling me, "Go get in that gym, go get in that grind." So the ideal of going into mixed martial arts, being recruited by a lot of the gyms, Jorge Masvidal. When I went down to ATT down in Florida, down in Miami, he was a big influence on my abilities to want to stay out there in Miami,
Gotcha.
live amongst the boys that are doing what I would like to do later in life. And that was a much easier and harder pull for me than to go into a transitional place of trying to learn how to act or live in Hollywood amongst people I don't know and things like that. So the transition for me was a much better ideal to go into a field of place that I knew.
Okay. No, that's a huge, jump, especially if you had the opportunity. Sometimes when people will follow the opportunity because it looked like, oh, this is a plate that's in front of me that I should eat off of. But you took your own path and you generated your own path and you got into mixed martial arts. And, you became a world champion at that as well.
Yes, sir.
And am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you became
Two-time world champion.
Yeah, the two-time world champion. So what is the training like for mixed martial arts, man?
It's a grind.
What is off season?
It's a grind.
Off-season, but
well, there really isn't an off-season.
Yeah.
Even the off-season is a light season because there shouldn't be an off-season because if you get a call on Thursday about a fight on Saturday, you should have already been ready. You know what I mean? So, and that's learning from being a challenger to a contender to a champion. Those different C's are different levels of your career. When you're a challenger, you're just hoping to get a call. When you're a contender, you're like, all right, let me look at these opponents. Let me see what the numbers is like. When you champion, you're like, I'll call y'all. Don't call me. I'll let y'all know.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's different levels and things that you're focusing on. So the focus on it is really building the right team, like we was talking about earlier. Focusing in on having the right coaches that can get you where you want to go. I didn't necessarily believe I needed a wrestling coach. I had wrestling booked and already down and understood it, but I needed a really good jiu-jitsu understander because of my wrestling and a really good striking coach. And I really didn't get the striking that I needed until I got here to Vegas with Dewey Cooper. Okay. That's when I would say my abilities to be a full, well-rounded mixed martial artist came into play. Dewey Cooper is Francis Ngannou's coach. He's the guy with the dreadlocks, deep DMX voice that everyone sees around Vegas.
Right.
He's in all the best guys' corners. He was the first guy to really get me to a level that I can compete at with any man on the world in striking. And that wasn't until later in my career. But in the beginning, you develop with trying to learn how to do jiu-jitsu, whether it be the pro jiu-jitsu of it, attacking people, or me. I just needed to learn anti-jiu-jitsu. I didn't need to know how to go out there, lay on my back, and try to, armbar somebody. That wasn't my thing. My thing was taking people down and being street fighter kind of. I was hood with it. Don't get it twisted. Bro, still from Virginia now. I'm with this, and the shits was with me. You know what I'm saying? So the grind of being that I had the classical understanding of technique, but I was still Bo Jackson with it. I didn't lift, and I still don't lift. I'm a jack muscular guy, but I knew from my understanding of the people around me, the men around me, of how to build to become champion. And that was simply building the team that we talked about and knowing who I could deal with. I don't deal well with the intensity of yelling to I need people to speak with me because I'm
you need somebody to speak your language and translate.
I got recruited by Iowa and we needed translation. I got recruited by some of these top schools, but those coaches were so intense that it really wasn't my style. And I'm a very communicative type of person. You just got to tell me what you want, and we'll get it done because I want to win as much as you do. Trust.
No, I mean, that's big because, that's a good testament to a lot of stories that you can tell a lot of kids these days coming up because there are different coaching styles. Absolutely. And I have a different coaching style than some of the kids that I've coached. And when they go off to college and they get this guy that's something totally foreign to them and they're yelling in their face and they're just like, they're like a deer in here, like, bro, man, and then they come home and they can't. They're talking to me like, dude, you got to learn how to deal with this. Is what you said you could deal with. But when I was doing some of these things, I'm telling you what a coach is going to do, you have to figure out the culture and the organization that you want to be a part of. Yeah. It's not just about, hey, I'm about to go to this Division I level or I'm about to work with this trainer or anything else like that. You have to make sure they are conducive to your mental capacity and your coachability.
What you're saying is very important for the young ones out there. Like, you got to be able to have that translation between athlete and coach. It's so vital between you and your growth to be great. I know a lot of young people out there, they just want to be great and they don't believe that it will determine their greatness is determined by the men in their life.
It is.
There is a man that can say, no, I'm not going to play you, I'm not going to coach you, I'm not going to spend time with you, and that kid will never see the potential that he needs. And then there's a man that will say, even though you're not my son, I will pick you up for practice, I will take you, and that can change that young man's life, as I am a testament to that.
Yeah, I'm a testament to that as well.
There are many of us that we just needed that one coach to say, yeah, I see you and I hope for you as much as you hope for yourself. And that's the difference.
Man, that's definitely key, man.
Yeah, wow. Again, the story is incredible because not a lot of black men are going into the wrestling and MMA and things like that. So,
you're right.
For you to be able to create this path and really set the tone for a younger generation to follow behind you is amazing. Like, how did you get to that point though? Like, I don't. Like, where did the fighting come from? Was that something that was?
No, I've been fighting all my life. I think the ideal of me being called, right? Few are chosen, many are called, and I know my calling. I have been a captain of every team that I've ever been a part of. Not one team have ever not said that I wasn't the leader, right? And that's not me going out there doing it. That's just
lead by example. Lead by example.
That's naturally who I am, right? With that knowledge, I looked back at people who are less than. When I was homecoming king, prom king of my high school, right? But I sat at the special needs table, which was the most happening table at lunch. That's where all the dudes were that grinding beat. But it was with the 19-year-old Down syndrome kid that everybody talked about. I would always do that because I don't know, the Lord anointed me to be able to see those type of people, right? To have that vision and not the veil of the world and the society of being great and all the things of the world that is that. But to still be great in all the things of the world that they can't see, those people who do not have that voice. And I think what led me into being the captain, being the coach, being this mentor to the youth that I am now is seeing them that were like me. I was saved by being the statistic. Seeing them that were like me, that if they could be given the opportunities that I have or was forwarded, that they would have a difference. Not only that, I'm a different type of coach. I know that if I can get them to see the wrestling that I see, we're going to touch lives, touch nations, and touch different things, right? So I'm mostly, there is a little bit selfish. I kind of want to take a pud into a stud for my own glory, right? But also, when I look at that weakling or I look at that non-wanted, that I look at them and I say, no, I can see something in them. And if I can see something in them, if I can get them to see something in themselves, that's something that I'm going to be able to throw at God's feet when I'm done as a crown.
That's heavy, man. Wow, major bar, bro.
Man, I don't know how you. I don't know what to say. You gonna leave me speechless, boy. I just want you to keep talking, though. But man, you're saying a good word. But that's what we try to do over here at Translation as well. We try to make sure that we help small, medium-sized businesses, people in the community, and highlight and tell their story. Because when we can do that, we can edify them. We can help champion them. We can get support behind them and other people that don't know anything about them, especially in the Las Vegas area. Because he talks about it all the time. Off the Strip, there's so many gyms. And so many businesses and so many beautiful people that are out here that are doing so many artistic, beautiful, and positive things. They need to be highlighted. You have a great story by telling from how you went from champion and now you're working in the community and helping these young kids and things of that nature. But I know some of these people out here are trying to say, hey, what was the business like of being an MMA, mixed martial artist? Because somebody might be, I've never been down that path. I don't know too much about that path. I've seen it, and I've seen some of the stuff, but I know business, and I know sports, and I know it can be a grimy business.
It is the sharkiest of the sharky sharks worlds because we do not have an association. If the UFC don't mess with me for whatever reason, they don't like the gem on my tooth, they don't like the God that I praise, they can release me for no other reason and nobody to attain to. They got uniforms, but they don't got no union. How is that? How is mixed martial arts?
Have you tried to address that or highlighted that in any capacity?
Has. You get blackballed in our sport.
Gotcha.
You cannot do that if you want to ever be a champion or ever be on TV or ever be on the highest level of mixed martial arts. You cannot be wanting a union against what was a monopoly. UFC bought all the organizations and shut things down before anybody realized it. They had everybody's fighters. Now there's the PFL, which I fought for, but even PFL and Bellator have combined into one organization. So
and there's no association in that.
No, it's one or the other. You barely can go. If you go to Bellator, you'll never see UFC. It's very rare to see guys because a lot of times it's politics. You don't want a Bellator champion coming to the UFC and beating the UFC guys and then be like, well, that guy would, or vice versa. So the Sharky Shark world of that, but also agents and managers, nobody knows before, how long has MMA been alive, right? Everyone who's alive right now has been in that generation of seeing it come to fruition. Yeah. So what do the contracts look like? What does it look like to pay a gym who's helped you get to that moment to fight? Nobody really knows those things until someone says, hey, I'll be your manager, or hey, I represent this person, I will represent you as well, to see their Rolodex of fighters that they may have helped, to know the difference between someone who's well connected and a real manager. There are people who are just well connected, and you'll give your contracts to them, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, well I'll get you some sponsorship, I'll get you some endorsements," and then next thing you know, they're just taking percentages off of your fight person. You ain't got an endorsement or a sponsor, you ain't got nothing, but they've made sure that you look good on fight night. They got your shorts, and it is a sharky shark world. There is no fundamental way to do it, and you don't have to go to school to be an agent or a manager. You don't have to have a degree, a law degree or anything like that. Like most of the NFL or higher ups in the NBA,
MLB,
you have to have some kind. There is no regulations. I could call 15 guys right now and say, I'm your manager, and let me call the UFC, and I can just play like I'm a manager. And a lot of people have ran in circles with people trying to get in the game as well-connected managers and managers. That's what they were, managers. So the world of half of your checks, the world of endorsements, the world of trying to put a camp together and paying people in that camp, it's all new. If you say you get a contract, you get a 3-fight contract, your first fight is 20 and 20, meaning you get $20,000 to show, you get $20,000 to win. You don't get $40,000 if you don't win. You get $20,000 after you make weight, After that guy makes weight, y'all make weight. That's show. I don't show it up. So I say I get 20 to show. He doesn't make weight.
No fight.
Unless he says, okay, I'm going to fight. Or he says, I'm not going to fight. And I say, well, or he says, I'm going to fight, but he's overweight, right? He's like 4 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
I say, I don't want to fight him. The organization has been like, well, you had the opportunity to fight him. You're not going to take that fight.
Right.
You're only getting $20,000. We're not going to give you that 20 to the show. Or we're not going to give you the $20,000 because you actually showed he didn't make weight, but we were scratching. And
So
there's no one to protect you for that.
Yeah, somebody not making weight will void your contract just for that fight.
I lost. In the PFL semifinals, the next fight is $4 million. In the PFL semifinals, my opponent didn't make weight by 5 pounds. And they forced me to not only take that fight, they gave me a percentage of his purse, which he's a Peruvian dude from wherever, and 10% of $1,300. What am I gonna do with that? Well, my contract is like 10% of that is a good chunk. 10% of this scrub who just happened to get here. There's levels of it, right?
Sure.
Our contracts ain't the same. So if this guy doesn't make weight for the hope that he can just be 5 pounds bigger and he's only giving up $800 or whatever, it's a different thing. Or if I'm still thinking, man, I need that advantage. So I'm not gonna make weight. Take my percentage. Take my little 20%. I'm not going to make weight because we all know in the fight game, the last 4 pounds that's different pounds. The cut weight is different. The last 3 pounds, that's starting to dig into your mentality, starting to dig into your manhood. Cowards fatigue makes cowards of us all. You get down to that last 3 pounds, you the biggest coward as there is. And you got a lot of people trying to get you to that scale. So there's a lot that goes on to it. Half the fight is you got to win. If you don't win, some people go out there rock'em sock'em wild and robot. I go out there knowing that I need both sides of my check. You know what I'm saying? So some fighters fight different. Some fighters are out there 20 to show, 20 to win. Some fighters are out there on that 35 guaranteed. So they don't care about nothing. They go rock'em sock'em, and that's if you had a good manager. So like we were saying, as I said, with the business world of mixed martial arts is so uneven and so dangerous and so unethical that you really have to be guarded and guided by a lot of the good people in the sport, like any other big sport.
So you had to basically take the time to search, and you and your mom and everybody, and put together a team that would incubate you during that process, right?
A lot of bad managers helped me get to the place I'm in.
A lot of bad managers. So you had to bump your head during that journey.
Yep.
Okay.
A lot of failures get me to the place of success where you can trust the people around you. Like you said, me and my mom was courting just individuals, different people. Yeah, they're well connected, but are they getting endorsements? Yeah, they say they're doing this, but so there's certain array of people that are always going to show up to the athlete's world. You have to decipher them and have the discernment that you need to make yourself great.
Yeah, man.
Everybody want an athlete.
Of course.
Facts.
Of course. So you're based out of Vegas.
Yes, sir.
And you got the little ones. You're deeply rooted into the family. Yeah. To a point where you're now at a gym. Yeah, you was talking about that a little bit off camera.
Academy Grappling, Assassins Grappling Academy, AGA. We're out there in North Vegas. And man, it's basically from 4 to 100. Everybody can come out there. Yeah, obviously.
You got little girls in there too?
Yeah, we got little girls.
Okay.
I got my little girl in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got little girls in there.
I don't want my little girl coming up there. Go ahead and show her. I need to be her in the big. Put her over in the kiddie pool.
I only really want my girl doing jiu-jitsu. Wrestling is a little bit harder, but wrestling is the fastest growing sport in America for women. Oh, wow. Women's wrestling is the fastest growing.
Isn't flag football for women too doing some numbers? Yeah, flag football.
Especially since the NFL just got behind that. So they're doing different numbers just recently. Yeah. But because they're allowing and the stigma of wrestling for women has changed, everybody's adding it to their programs and it's spreading like wildfire, right? But I constantly focus on my daughters doing jiu-jitsu for the fact of being a man later in life, putting them on their back and having them to feel confident in what they can do to defend themselves. Instead of thinking, I have to be able to take this guy down or I have to, jiu-jitsu is more of a, got your ass, got your ass. Now you just snap some arms or whatnot. There's a little bit of difference and there's a little bit of the masculine mentality that's in wrestling that I don't, at a young age, want to put on my daughter just so.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And keep a princess a princess and then those type of things. That's just
absolutely.
Just
yeah, I'm definitely gonna bring baby girl by the gym. She's gonna be out here soon, so I'm gonna bring her by the gym, man, to see if she can wrestle a toast a little bit.
That'd be fun. And sometimes, man, they don't have to love it on their day. They just got to get the understanding of giving that effort.
Yeah.
Some people don't know the difference between mentality of like just want it. Want it. You'll get some of these kids that are like not here. They only compete when it's time to put the game on, right? But they won't compete for, throw something out there and tell two kids to go compete. It's kind of like, well, maybe you'll get it.
Right.
Our world,
because electronics world now.
yeah,
I mean,
our
nowadays,
world, we was
gonna get it.
You was in the streets. You gotta go get it.
We got to go get it. The competitiveness. So some of those things that I saw in my generation, I'm again implementing in this newer generation to keep those locks of old, to keep those understandings of old, and the mentalities of old that did raise strong young men.
Absolutely
and women.
needed.
That's key, brother, because when I was in my training and development days, we used to come up playing, I was a basketball guy, and so when I used to come up playing basketball, we used to just go down with our friends and play 21, 32, and those games like that. So you basically had to figure out a way to survive in a basketball game when it's like 3 or 4 or 5, maybe sometimes even 10 guys on the court. And so you got to hustle, get a rebound on your own. You got to make your free throws. You got to make a 3-pointer. And sometimes if you got game point, you got to figure out a way to score on like all 10 people, because all 10 people trying to figure out a way to stop you.
No tips.
You got to foul. You gonna get hacked. All right, check back up. It's your ball. Dude.
Yeah,
I gotta go right.
That's right.
Yeah, I gotta go right.
Restart.
I gotta go right back at this again, like against all y'all. So it was.
Are different now.
Man, that generation, I'm telling you, there was a gold mine, because now everybody's in the gym with trainers and they doing these cone drills and all this other stuff, and then they think that a cone is going to equate to how to figure out a way to play on the basketball
Translation.
court. Yeah,
they are getting lost in translation.
Definitely.
My son does. My youngest, my 7-year-old, he is a hammer. When I tell you to be proud man, to be a man, to have a son, to be proud of, he's that, right? Knot on his head, black eye, bloody lip. I took him in the room the other day. This other kid had a singlet on, knee pad. You definitely could tell that he knows what he's doing. And my boy was just going out. And the coach was like, getting mad at the other kid, because like, you've been here all day. And my boy, I just got him on the mat. But he's one of those kids that are just hard-nosed, bloody lip, and just liking it and smiling, right? The difference between the kids that he's in the gym competing with of today's ilk and what he's used to at home is that competitive spirit. That okay, they do cry at home when they don't win. And there is a who's number one on daddy's list.
For sure.
Like a little jokingly, like the Sanders, but every day, daddy, who's number one on your list? Jade is. Daddy, who's number one on your list? Drayden is. Daddy, who's number? And every day it's a different reason for it. And just because you third doesn't mean you weren't great. It just means number one did something. Do something. Do something. I ain't saying that you last.
Right.
I'm just saying first is first.
Right.
And the difference between those type of everyday on you type of mentalities that grind, he's not as I wanted him to be, the wrestler of old, where out of the womb he's wrestling. I truly, as this guy who I am, allowed my babies to grow, allow them to play whatever they wanted until they came to me, which was recent. Daddy, we want to get on the mats.
Oh, do you?
Is that my ears tickling? Okay, all right. Let me get a club, to bring you guys into, and that's where I am, man. Really mentoring them, showing them through examples. They were in my camp when I lost that $1 million fight in Madison Square Garden. Oh, wow. They were crying, and I had to teach them what it was like to be bravadoed out, to be confident, to tell the world in front a very shining camera. You know what it is. You know bad man things, yada yada, and to give them all that bravado and to come up short and then look them in the face like, yeah. Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes you think you're going to do it and you think you him, and sometimes you come out with a tattoo on your face and some new scars and your nose on the other side of your face. Sometimes, son, you're going to trip at the finish line.
Man, facts.
And to be able to have those kind of experiences with them is why I understand them to be the athletes they are when they're competing against the kids that they compete against. Because what they've seen and what they're experiencing is different than what these coaches are teaching them. I'm giving them life. They're learning it.
But you've been to those trenches and been to those wars, so those stories that you're telling aren't from our speculation or a YouTube video. You know what I mean?
A lot of coaches be speculating.
Yeah, exactly.
Speculated coaches.
Oh yeah,
Man,
so time and time again, analysts.
I think it go this way.
Like, yeah, I don't think you really know what you're talking about. You know, I've been through this shit.
What'd you say, Skip? Did you average 1.4 points per game,
That was
Skip?
crazy. Yeah. Come on,
Jalen Rose killed you.
Baker's ass. But yeah, you've been through the trenches, so you able to give and pass down those stories. And I mean, obviously, you're doing it in an entire gym, you know, with multiple kids, not just your own.
Sure,
so I think that's super admirable, man. I think also too, you're in the media space, so you know, listening to you share your story and how animated you are and passion behind the storytelling, like how has that helped you into your fighting and your journey has helped you into the media space?
Yeah, man, it has transitioned me beautifully. Everyone knows that I have a way with words. I was a little better when I was younger. I've been hit a couple times, so I'm always, I still have to stutter on things. And I'm thinking about things, but when I was younger, man, it was sharp. The idea of name, image, and likeness. You know, they came up with that NIL deal, and I tell my sons, "Look, nigga, you already got a name. We working on image and likeness. We working on image and likeness."
Yeah.
Humble and rumble. That's the image and likeness. Are you humble enough to deal with being him? Humble enough to deal with all the girls? Humble enough? That's your image. Can they deal with that? Do they have an understanding of you to be a Shador like? Because that's on him a little bit. There are some people that's your likeness. That's your image. That's on you a little bit. Are you humble and ready to rumble? Because we got the name part figured out.
For sure.
My focus on having that example for them was also my mother telling me, no uhs and ums. I'm taking money from your allowance, uhs and ums.
Man,
from
that's
5th
beautiful.
grade.
Yeah,
I couldn't nothing. I don't care. I had interviews from 8th grade up to #1 recruit in the country. I couldn't or nothing. It had to be well articulated facts that you understood. And the type of teaching and tutoring that I was being under with that allowed me to understand, and she was a biblical woman. My father was a pastor. The Lord's going to come for me with his talents. He'd give me a bunch of talents. He's going to come back and say, okay, son, what'd you do with these talents? Your ability to sing, your ability to rap, your ability to think, your ability to learn, your ability to be athletic, your ability to do these things. What did you do with these talents? Therefore, that's where I stand with my ability to not only know who I am as a wrestler, but know who I am between my ears, have that confidence to speak with authority. That's the difference between me and the other guys that wrestle and that were good at wrestling. I not only wrestled with authority, but I spoke on who I was. I spoke on what I did, and I did it with an authoritative figure and understanding about myself. I understood how much the mantle weighed that I was carrying, and that's the difference with other people. Some people don't understand it, or sometimes it hits them or they trip over it when they're finally great. From a young age, my mom endured on me and understood to me that I was going to be someone who carried a heavy stick.
Yeah, I think that's major because again, you know, you have athletes, especially in the wrestling MMA space. You often think there's not a lot of directions you can go. You know, like you know, we see the direction football and basketball go. Like there's like, okay, you're an analyst, cool. Obviously, there's other directions you go. You got The Rock, who transitions from wrestling into one of the biggest film and actors and filmmakers in the world, not just in America, in the world. So there's all of these different paths. So to see you go through your journey, win championships, and then also transition into the media space and be and like you said, a likable person within the name, image, and likeness is incredible too. Because there's not, it's flowers given. That's what we do on our platform because it's important. You know, I think the biggest thing is that when we talk about the athletic space, right? Basketball backgrounds, not a lot of opportunities. It's not a lot of roster space. You know, football. There's not.
Hopefully we get 2 more teams so we can add some more roster spots.
Exactly.
There's a bunch of little boys out here thinking they got an NBA job, and it's not given. It's not guaranteed.
Same thing. And then in football is not for long. You know, so what do you do after that? You know, and the thing is what do you like? What can you tell everybody what they can do after that? I mean, obviously it's situational, but
it's important to have that discernment, right? To have an understanding of when to go home at the party. I tell you being smart, you don't stay to the end of the party.
No.
You get them numbers early, you figure it out, you get about it. Ain't nothing good at the end of the party.
Yep.
That's the same thing that I, as a wrestler, was understanding about my career. I don't want to be here at the end of the party as a 50-year-old wrestler, a 45-year-old wrestler trying to get numbers and then I'm getting robbed in the parking lot.
Right.
I'm trying to get my numbers like a good athlete and see the writing on the wall. Understand what I need to do next. Okay, what's after this? Is there a safe after party? Is there something we about to go eat? IHOP waffle shop?
Yeah.
What's the move? And the ideal of being in my career, my thing was, what's the move? The move was the Olympics or being a coach. What's the move? And as I was in the career, I'm always thinking, what's the after party? What's the move? And my after party was my ability to speak. My after party was my ability to collaborate, bring people together, lead, mentor. So my after party was seeing people who look like me, who didn't have a shot like me. My after party was, okay, how do I become everything that I wanted to be for myself? My after party was, okay, if I can become a manager, an agent for myself. If I would have been my own agent, my manager, we would be great. God right now is my agent. God right now is my agent. So I'm showing the world how I transitioned from mixed martial arts, from wrestling to mixed martial arts, from mixed martial arts to film, to broadcasting, to getting my own things out there. Now I'm commentating for Fox Nation for Real American Freestyle. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And that's Love the Nation. And that's coming from a background of speaking on wrestling how I love it. You guys can see the passion that I speak with. So whenever I speak about it to the higher ups and the people that matter in wrestling, I did well enough to where they finally built an organization that was like, hey, we need you to commentate. So that just came from knowing who I was and knowing that the party's about to end. I got to find an after party. I got to figure out if I'm going to Waffle House or whatever we are. And to see that and to see the talents that I had, I recognize I know combat. I recognize I know wrestling. I've traveled the world. I have championed the world. I was a world champion in Beijing, China in 2008. All the way 2016, Abu Dhabi world champion. 2 different atmospheres, 2 different sports, 2 different understandings of the world. But I championed the world, and I can't be a world champion without having gone there and understanding those type of people, understanding those who can't be seen, understanding those who cannot be spoken for. That totality of being anointed, that totality of discernment, that totality of being a war priest, in which I call myself, that is knowing that the Lord will come back for those talents. That is knowing that I have children that if a man is a good man, he leaves an inheritance for. That is knowing that I cannot be a 50-year-old fighter or a 50-year-old athlete.
Right. I
have to be a businessman. I have to transition to what is going to pay the bills. And that has been just to be who I am with a mindset of what's next. What I would tell the kids out there, be who you are, learn who you are, learn who you have become up until that point, analyze what greatness you have up until that point, and how you can capitalize on being that person for your next after party.
Wow. Yeah, boy.
Hey man, you hitting the heart right there today, man. Because
that's what it's about.
Like a lot of what you're saying is a lot of people don't know how to transition to that next phase or
and if you don't think
pivot.
about it,
you don't think about it.
Honestly, some of these people don't think about it because they don't see themselves tripping. And y'all tripping.
They tripping because
not playing.
Exactly.
It's plan to fail. You got to really I might make it, but let me get a couple of these things, and you got to have the right people. Your boys, the right boys. You got to have the right people around you to be like, yeah, you should probably think about doing a little bit more. You should probably think about doing some other things. I got more fires in the iron than I can count because I got the right people around me saying, okay, if they do move that seat from under that table, you might want to transition to other things. Of course, my mother, of course, my own writing on the wall and discernment, but it's vital to have the right people around you to be like, you know what, move it on.
Because now you consider yourself a business. You're a brand. And, in that same capacity, you're a businessman, but your brand is taking you to all these different ventures and businesses and things of that nature. So you marketed yourself or utilize your brand as a tool to market products, different types of ventures and everything else like that. Tell us something about the products that you got out here on the marketplace and how you using your speaking and your charisma to transition that, because that's another story where people are trying to figure out, because even if they don't have the God-given sports abilities, if somebody has the speaking ability and the charisma and the profoundness, they can definitely go on to being a well-spoken speaker, public speaker, inspirational speaker, public speaker.
There's so many
market
more
products.
Jobs.
Yeah,
there's so many more jobs today. Even though they're saying,
do you consider yourself an influencer now?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
I would say that, you know, if I told a restaurant that I'm coming,
yeah,
I wouldn't say that I'm Bubba Jenkins, the food influencer.
Gotcha.
I would say I'm Bubba Jenkins, the fighter.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I got a good influence. If y'all want to do something, you know, that's but I wouldn't say myself.
Shout out to Mr. Fries, man. Again.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Fries, man. with my poster up.
Steve, what up, baby?
Go get your bad man fries.
Your bad man fries.
A little crab and steak on the fries with a little lemon butter and all that. But, what was we talking about?
Your brand and marketability and things of that nature. Gotta
know how to sell who you are. Gotta know how to market who you are. Gotta know who you are. That's the biggest thing. Sun Tzu said, if you don't know your opponent, you lose every war. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know your opponent, you're gonna lose to your opponent. But if you don't know who you are, you're gonna lose every war.
Exactly.
And that's a big thing. Knowing that some of these brands, as an earlier person, if I give 15% code, that might not be for you. That might not be. Hey, sell some not a lot of people want to know what you're wearing or what you're doing. You got to know who you are and your brands. Right now, I'm working with ASEA, and it is a recovery drink. It's a stem cell recovery drink. So I needed stem cell on my shoulder and my elbow. And I shout out to my people in Colombia. I went out there to Medellin and got the stem cell from BioAccelerator. And with that, I needed a recovery to have my cells signal the right signals to each other. And
it's crazy. Quick. Sorry to cut you off. It's crazy how some of these third world countries have some of the best technology and rehab and things that
they have some of the best.
And then over here, they're giving us all this poison.
Rabbit hole.
Ran backwards.
Yeah, we definitely ran backwards, bro. Rabbit hole. And it's come from the earth, and the earth has everything that we need to heal our bodies.
It's by design.
The Lord showed me this a long time ago, and it's been very accurate. Anytime you see oxymoronic behavior, it's usually a sign of demonic movement. Anytime you see oxymoronic behavior, it's usually a mentality of the other side.
All right, but sorry to get off. Back to your rehab.
Rabbit hole.
Yes.
Stem cell treatment in Medellin.
So the drink that I'm taking right now and the drinks that I'm selling that I'm part of is called ASEA, and I'm trying to be an inspirational speaker for them as well. But
you'll get it.
Yes, the cells, your body's made up of cells, and they signal to each other. This drink or this supplement helps your cells not only rejuvenate faster, become younger because your cells get older. They rejuvenate, become younger, but they help the signaling between each cell to each other. So when I want to recover, I recover faster. When I want to get stronger, when I want to breathe more, all these things are formulated on having the right cells talk to each other. And with this drink that I'm selling with ASEA, and they're global. They're worldwide. They're getting bigger as we speak. But they are a company that is reaching out to a lot of different people to help them. It helps for sickness as well. It's not just athletes for recovery.
Cell recovery.
Cell recovery. Anything for cell. If you feel sick, my baby comes up to me with a snuffy nose. I give her a couple shots of this, and she can feel the difference. And it is ASEA Redox.
We need to talk about that.
We're going to come to North Las Vegas to the gym.
Yep.
We're going to do an episode up there for your gym and with the kids. We're going to have you do a speaking engagement, but we're going to trust your product.
Show it.
Definitely looking forward to that. I mean, like on our platform, we sponsored by Meta Water and Meta H2O.
Meta H2O.
Meta H2O. And it's alkaline water based out of the manufactured in the Midwest. But ultimately, we were just talking about this off camera before we linked up with you today. Is how we're trying to champion. I'm not even trying. We're championing the idea of wellness. I'm not above a good time. We like to have a couple glasses of drinks here and there, but ultimately, there's not enough cool people talking about wellness the way that you're having this passionate conversation about it. And I'll share like a brief moment where I was pushing wellness last year. So I've been familiar with kava. You know about kava, right? So there's kava root. I was actually introduced to it by some Polynesians and Samoans that play for the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay. So
at the time, I was going back and forth between Stanford and the actual practice facility because my guy was on an injured reserve list. So when you're injured and you're on a flight restriction, you basically rehab at Stanford if you're playing for San Fran. And so basically I was driving him back and forth just to help because he couldn't drive. And basically I would go to the facility. So these guys invite me in and they had me do the ceremony. And I'm like, what is it? And they were like, oh, just sit down. So they took me through the routine. I did the tradition, and then I drank it. I'm like, man, I'm lit. I'm like, y'all able to drink this at work? And then they broke down what it was. They were like, look, this is root. It's from the earth. And, that was like 2012. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, there's a lounge here. It's the only lounge in Las Vegas for multiple reasons. Another story for another day. But I get introduced to the owner of the lounge, and they have Creighton and Kava there. Mm-hmm. But typically when you go to Kava lounges anywhere in the country, it looks like a tiki bar. It's super hippie-ish, right? Which is nothing wrong with that, but think about what crowd that draws in, right? Mm-hmm. It's a specific look. Right. So you think about how our world is shaped, right? Like we have happy hours. Mm-hmm. So we go to these happy hours, what do we do? We get drunk, and then imagine what that is. Imagine watching drunk people sober. Yeah. There's all these different levels, and then at some point we get older, you ain't trying to drink because you know what it does to the body. Yeah. So now it's like, all right, well, damn, I might as well sit my ass at home because I don't want to go out and drink. But I saw this opportunity where I wanted to curate a moment at this bar where we introduced people to Kava, and I ended up like 10 people showing up. Mm-hmm. But the 10 people was informed on how it works, and people use Kava to transition into sobriety. Mm-hmm. But again, a lot of people aren't familiar with Kava, mm-hmm. and so once we get into spaces where we're talking about ASEA, and Kava, and all these different opportunities for wellness, like even just look at drinking is down, drinking is declined. Mm-hmm. There's wellness parties. Mm-hmm. There's some guy that founded like a wellness club. Yeah. So it's basically all the components of a nightclub, but everybody's sober, no drinking. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how that works. I haven't been there, but you're seeing these opportunities to push wellness. Yeah. So, the fact that you're able to introduce a product like ASEA as a stem cell recovery drink, I'm intrigued. I'm like, how? For sure. Because that's the thing too, as men, as fathers, we want to be able to preserve ourselves for the longevity of our kids' lives. Yeah. And, obviously as time has gone by, the older we get, we won't age ourselves, but ultimately we start looking better than our younger.
Sure, I look good at 44, yo. I'm an age. He said, I'm gonna shave my age. Yeah. I'm 44.
But that's the thing is,
they need me out here.
Is, genetically, as long as we're taking care of ourselves. But that's the key thing, taking care of ourselves. So what do we put in our body? Mm-hmm. If we start having, wellness events where it's focused on ASEA and obviously recovery, not just sports, because that's the thing. But if somebody could easily negate that and say, "Oh, I don't play sports no more, so I don't need that."
Well, also along the lines of what you're saying, seeing the importance of it, because I just watched that Dave Chappelle stand-up, and he talked about Dr. Sebi and the power of Dr. Sebi. And of course, we have Dr. Sebi's nephew or son running around Vegas here doing his thing, and I've taken some supplements for that. But us as the black and brown community, we need an understanding of education in those fields.
Absolutely.
We can't just rely on what they've been telling us because we've known that it's not been right for us.
And they transition to a different translation of what they really want us to know. So I get it.
And it's a lot of the things that they don't want us to know. There's certain Jewish things that have little stamps on it that only they get because they know that ain't no bullshit in it, kind of thing. So it's like having our own community that has that, or not even just our own community, having more of our community out there saying these things and having these fitness places where they educate people is just more understanding and more places that we can serve each other. We don't have enough people serving.
Yeah, and we don't have not to cut you off. We don't have enough people not only serving, but it's education is serving, and then it's just integrating. We're really good at integrating things into what we do anyway.
Yeah,
So why wouldn't we integrate something that's going to prolong our lifespans? Sure. That's the thing that I think we all collectively have to get on the same page and just making that cool. Yeah. Just as much as we can make a glass of wine, we can promote some spirits brand. Let's promote the things that really is going to change the dynamics of not only how we operate physically, but mentally and spiritually too.
But we just got to be intentional. That's what I'm talking about when you're saying community. Here at Translation, I speak on all the time. We got to police our own communities. We got to health and wellness our own communities. We got to incubate our own communities and start influencing our people in the next generation in that capacity. And that community has to continue to be meet on a regular basis and be intentional and hold each other accountable. And that's what the big thing about it is. Like, we look at the government that they need to help us. A lot of people out here in the community look for the government to be our support, and it's just like, nah. Why did we if we growing our own crops and growing our own fields and doing and our own fruits and things of that nature? Why do we have to continue to rely on the government for everything? If they don't need to. We don't need a National Guard to roll out. We just keep everybody get on the block and make sure your kids are acting right. You know, that's the way it used to happen back in the day, and then they transitioned us to be a separate society, and when we could be better as a one whole. Right. And so we just have to be. I think we continue to be intentional and have conversations with you, individuals like yourself. You have a community in the wrestling community and everything else like that. It might be somebody, some little girls or boys that maybe want to be interested in going that direction. I know young ladies that are doing women's basketball, and my daughter does gymnastics, and there's a bunch of other different projects that people can get into, but we just have to incubate and support and create our own narratives and not be so in tune with what's going on in this societal world and what's on social media, but we get back to the foundation of roots and family and community. And I think that's something that's major in everything that you talked about, from your mom bringing you up to the people that were around you wrestling and everything else like that. You found the right community to support you, incubate you, and take you to that next level. And you had some ups and downs, but you still, those losses became learning lessons instead of losses.
Everything that we talked about in the totality, the ideal of it was the fact that even when I was looking to transition, even when I was looking to get into it, intentional, intent. The kids that are not training correctly, there's no intent. There's no want to compete. That intentional competitive thing is key. Yeah. You can't lose that in translation. Be intentional.
That's amazing.
Definitely. So tell us what else is coming down the pipeline for Bubba. Any other new projects, any other new commentary, things of that nature?
Man. So I think I'm doing a weekly show with RAF, or Real American Freestyle. So I'm
congratulations on that for sure.
That. And
where can they find that RAF at? What
Fox
station?
Nation.
Fox Nation.
Fox Nation. They're actually streaming on Fox Nation. I think we're weeks away from getting a TV deal, because our last couple shows, our last 4 shows have been doing numbers.
Sweet. Wow.
And I've been seeing on TV commercials for hearing my voice doing the voiceovers, and I've been seeing it on TV more. Okay. So I'm like, they doing too much on TV for us to still be streaming, streaming apps. Sure. So I think it's coming. And the last time we talked, they were like, our numbers are doing what they said that we should be doing. So that is the next thing for me. I also might be competing for them. Everybody knows that I'm a wrestling legend from the background.
You
so
are. Right.
Well, obviously I can talk about it, but you know, getting back on the mats with my sons and everything, I would just love for them to be at a match or something like that. They've been in so many fights, but they know Daddy to be a wrestler. I'm turned into a fighter, but the world knows me for wrestling. So for me to go out there and do my thing, and I kind of want to call out some of these MMA guys, because only reason why us wrestlers even delved into the mixed martial arts world is because there was no pro wrestling. Now that we have our pro wrestling, y'all need to come see me for all them times that I came see y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to come holler at me.
Hey, name a few names on the show, man.
Some Tony Fergusons, the Michael Johnsons of the world, the Patty Pambletons. Anybody at 155, 170, they need to come see us. You know what I'm saying? Anybody. Usman just got called out by my boy David Carr. So, there's a couple of MMA guys that have been talking about the fact that they are champion-like.
Let's go.
But we're gonna slide them over to this Real American Freestyle and see what they talking about.
You had a fight canceled. I was on my way to Miami to come see you fight, man. I was ready to go.
So I have the wrestling, and then again, I might be getting back again with the Dirty Boxing League, which is owned by Perry and John Jones. I invited you to a June 14th fight in Miami that I was headlining, and I got a cease and desist from the lawyers from the commentating company that I was with, TCL. It was they told me because I had done so well, they told me because I had done so well on camera for them that I had an upcoming event, and my fight was before that. If I was not able to attend that fight, I would be in breach of contract. So they said, we're going to put you on suspension for possibly being in breach of contract, yada yada.
And show your ass up to work.
So they said, you can still have the fight, but well, we'll see what the rest of your contract's like. And I was like, okay, screw that. I'm not gonna do that. I won't fight. And they still fired me. And that's how I got the Real American Freestyle job.
Hey, one door closed, one door open.
Closed, another door open.
I was free. As soon as they sent me my release, they were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'll commentate for you.
Man,
we would love to have you." So
there you go.
So I am, because that'll ruin my little dirty boxing opportunity I had. As I'm getting back in shape, I might go over there to the DBX. They've had some shows in Miami. I think one in Arizona. So I think they're coming west. So next year I will be more active because I'm actively getting after my sons.
Man,
so I'm going to be actually active.
Okay.
So the commentating, I'm trying to get this movie out like we were talking about, trying to get these matches, trying to get the boxing, and I have a product that is big for mixed martial arts. Not going to bring it out here, not going to say it, but I'm working on a patent. It'll change lives.
Hey, we talked about that before, didn't we?
Yep, and there's some support behind it. We got some great things for mixed martial arts. Obviously, me being a combatant and seeing the writing on the wall, how do I figure out the after party, and something that can get us something that can get us happier at this party that we are is what I'm thinking about for the mixed martial arts community. So I just need a little background help for that. And
what Deion Sanders say? Deion Sanders say, "We coming.
We coming." Showing up. A whole bunch of dreadhead people in the lobby. I'm telling you.
Hey, man. Well, thank you, Bubba, man, for coming to our show. Thank you for giving us, man. You gave us some words of wisdom. You gave us some knowledge, man. I want you to give a shout out to your family, your kids, and everybody else like that before we head out of here.
Honestly, I want to give a shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for having me, man. This has been beautiful. And the words that we spoke here, I hope they touch a lot of the children out there that really need to hear it. Put it on your heart, because these are words that have been dug out of the mud to turn to gold. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Drayden. Shout out to Dream. Shout out to Sky. And shout out to my other Jade. Love you guys.
There you
know
go.
I love you guys.
Hey, man, thank y'all for joining us on another episode of Translation, powered by Translation Media. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Meta H2O. Should we throw Hardin in there too? I'm gonna throw Hardin in the hat too. Shout out to the future Hardin relationship we got popping off, man. I'm Kurt Blair with my co-host.
For sure, you can do it.
Hey, man, shout out, man. Like, share, love, share, and follow.
Subscribe, share.
All that little stuff. I always mess it up. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, stay solid, everybody.